Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike KD9 in the Mic Drop colorway. This shoe has a retail price of $150 US, and if you are interested in a pair for yourself, there is a direct buy it now link in the description of this video for all the currently available colorways. So if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. All right, so here is a look at the KD9s. This is a shoe that when I first saw it unveiled at the Nike Innovation Summit, they showed off a lot of stuff that day. I was really excited about these in particular, mainly because it was a Flyknit sneaker, something that we do see more and more of from Nike nowadays. And what I like about Flyknit is just the potential that it has. I'm not saying that every single time Nike has used Flyknit, it's been a complete knockout as far as performance is concerned. But like I said, there is so much potential for the material, and the shoes that get it right really get it right. And I think the KD9 is a good example of how good Flyknit can actually be. And unlike something like a Kobe 11, for example, where yes, it's technically a Flyknit upper, but there's a lot of stiffness to it, this does have more of that kind of sock-like softness. There really isn't a lot of backing on the surface or on the inside as far as a liner is concerned. There is somewhat of a liner, but for the most part, the upper is pretty soft, it's pretty flexible, and you get the Flyknit feel, if that makes any sense. So with this shoe, one, I really like how it looks. I think the Flyknit design they went with is pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit, just to compare it to soccer cleats, just because that's kind of something I'm always dealing with. It almost looks to me like they combine a little bit of the design from the Magista Obra and the Superfly 5, just in terms of having kind of the horizontal line pattern going across the shoe, and then having somewhat of a honeycomb pattern from the Magista, of course. But I just think it looks really good, especially in this particular colorway. This is the second colorway that we're seeing as a general release from Nike of the KD9. There was the pre-release one, then the USA one, and now this one, which they're calling the Mic Drop colorway. A lot of people are calling them Oreos as well, just because it is black and white. And I'm really happy with this particular colorway. I thought the USA one looked good too. Even the pre-release one, they're just impossible to get. I could not get a pair in my size. Even these I had a hard time with. I actually ended up getting these a little bit early, prior to the US release. For those that don't know, I am located in Canada, and for whatever reason, the USA colorway as well as this one released prior to the US release dates in Canada. So I did manage to get a pair I'm making this video on the Thursday before the Saturday that these come out. So technically I have them 2 days prior to the US release. Or I guess some Canadian releases are coming out on that day as well. But for whatever reason, they had them in the store, so I picked them up. And they just had one size left in the size that I needed. So I'm really happy with them, and I just like this shoe in general. The fit is really good. Basically what you have going on here is Flyknit for the front half of the shoe. So the black and white section you see here going all the way across the top of the foot, that is entirely made from Flyknit. And then the back half is kind of that foam-based mesh material that we've seen from Nike many times before, including this little extension piece. So you have this kind of harsh stitched line going across basically the middle of the shoe, which actually they've blended in quite nicely to the overall design to where it doesn't actually look all that harsh as a kind of a final product. As a lacing system, you have these kind of nylon straps that run through the Flyknit or underneath the liner on the inside of the shoe at least, into the base of the sole, so those kind of crisscross going all the way up. And then you do have this one nylon strap here at the top as well to kind of just lock your heel and ankle kind of into the base of the shoe, just giving you really good lockdown in general. I was a little bit worried about this heel liner when I first saw it, just because it is that kind of really slick material, but there's tons and tons of padding, and your heel sits really deep into the back of the shoe, so heel slippage is not an issue whatsoever, especially because of how big this opening is. I was expecting them to be a little bit more difficult to put on than they actually are. Honestly, it's not too bad. I guess that would depend on the shape of your foot, but for me, I didn't really have too much of an issue as far as getting them on. There's a bit of an internal heel counter as well. It's more of a foam base as opposed to an actual plastic, but there is something there. Feels solid enough. And then of course you have the outsole and kind of cushion system, which a lot of people are pretty excited about as well. This is something that I was excited about just because out of all the basketball sneakers I have to say that one of my personal favorites to actually wear, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, is the KD6 Elite, which had the full-length Zoom Air. kind of like what we got from the LeBron 10s, but not quite as significant, I guess. But I really like that shoe. I know not everybody loved the upper, and it wasn't the most flexible thing in the world, but that cushioning system I just thought was really cool to wear, and it's still a shoe that I wear very regularly. So when I saw this, I was pretty excited. This is kind of in between what we got from that KD6 Elite and the more recent KD8, which I thought just wasn't the greatest cushioning system in general. This feels, like I said, kind of in between, a medium ground, if that makes any sense. They're making a big deal about it being kind of segmented, and basically what they've done here is it's full length zoom from the heel into basically 3/4 of the shoe right into the forefoot. That's kind of more of a standard bigger Zoom Air bag unit, if you want to call it that. And then you have this complete split and then a smaller Zoom Air unit right here closer to the tip of the toe. And the reason why it's flexible is because there isn't actually any air unit right here. So again, it's not really flexible beyond this flex groove. This midfoot part is pretty stiff, so if you're looking for a super flexible shoe, this isn't necessarily it, but the amount of cushion that it actually does provide is pretty good. So you have this top layer of foam, you have your zoom unit, and the zoom unit, as you guys can see, is also kind of interesting in that on the lateral side, it's exposed and a little bit more, a little bit thicker, so it actually does have some room to compress, whereas on the medial side, there's almost no room for it to compress whatsoever. So like I said, the amount of compression you're actually going to get from this zoom unit, you're going to be able to feel it. It's definitely going to be effective in terms of underfoot cushioning, but nothing overly significant if you wanted something that just had tons and tons of underfoot cushioning, although these do feel pretty good given what the Kevin Durant line has had on offer in the past. And then of course you do have your traction pattern, which on this particular shoe is just a solid black rubber with this interesting kind of honeycomb pattern they have going. It looks like it'll be pretty good. I don't know. Until I actually try it, I can't comment too much on the actual traction, but I've read that it actually is supposed to work pretty well. So I'm pretty optimistic about the sneaker. It fits really, really well. And I like how it looks too, and that always helps with any sneaker. So let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comment section. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why or why not? This shoe has been getting a ton of attention. Like I said, they're kind of difficult to get at the moment. I think it's a lot to do with Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors, which kind of a surprise move. I know not everybody is still kind of has wrapped their head around that particular move, but nonetheless, I think that's why most people are really kind of going to the store and buying these right away. I suppose it's possible. They're just excited about the shoe itself, but I highly doubt that's the case. I think more people just want them just because it's kind of the shoe to have at the moment, given Kevin Durant's current status. But nonetheless, that's it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and we'll take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. All right, so here is a look at the KD9s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I threw in some white and black grid pattern SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're pretty comfortable out of the box. The Flyknit upper is soft, flexible, and sock-like, for lack of a better word, kind of as you would expect from this type of upper. Given that it does have a Zoom Air unit, having that split in the middle of the forefoot does make the shoe feel a lot more flexible than shoes that provide this significant of an amount of cushioning, if that makes any sense. And like I said, in general, the shoe fits really, really well. It has a good snug fit through the midfoot and forefoot area. The toe box does have more of a kind of a squarish shape to it, so it does have a little bit more of an openness than I perhaps would have liked, but overall the shoe is quite comfortable. The lockdown in the heel is pretty good, given that it does have somewhat of a strange cut and kind of a big opening. But again, can't really complain about the fit at all. When you pull the laces tight, they fit really, really well, and your foot is locked in place. The underfoot cushioning also feels really, really good. And it just doesn't seem like there's all that much to break in with this particular shoe, which is kind of what you want. As far as the overall width and fit of the shoe is concerned, like I said, it does fit a little bit more snug through the forefoot and midfoot area. So if you have really, really wide feet, maybe try them on. And given that the opening isn't the biggest, again, if you have wider feet, you may struggle to kind of put them on and take them off. But again, if you don't mind that more snug fit in general, you're probably not going to have any issues with these. And as far as sizing is concerned, I didn't really get the opportunity to try them on in my usual size 9.5 US, which is pretty much what all my other KD shoes are. They only had a 9 and a 10, so I tried the 10, didn't really like it. So I went half size down to a 9, which is what these are on my feet. And the fit is pretty good. Again, given that it does have more of a squarish shape to the toe box area, I think that if you do want just a more snug fit in general in comparison to previous KD models, you can safely go a half size down. But if you just want kind of a more standard fit, not too tight, not too loose, I think you can safely go true to size in this shoe as well. It's really your call and the way that you want the shoes to fit in general. So for me, I went a half size down, but I like a more snug fit and they fit pretty well. But I think for most people, going true to size is probably what you're going to want to do for the best possible fit, or for the most normal fit, I guess. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the Nike KD9. Again, if you are interested in a pair for yourself, there is a buy it now link down below in the description. It's the very first link. Go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. And if you have any suggestions for other sneakers you'd perhaps like to see featured on the channel, leave those suggestions down below in the comments, and I'll take a look at everything you guys have to say. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for more sneaker reviews, of course. All my social media information is linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.